to Angular Observable tutorial, and in this video I'm going to show you the practical example. In the last video I displayed you through illustration that how the service works and how also this observable works. So in the last video you saw that this is the user, and user interacts with the HTML, the view file, and then view interacts with the TS file, and ultimately the TS file interact with the services, and then services through HTTP request send signal request to the database API, and then database API, after listening to the request, returns the raw data, and then this raw data actually is filtered, is controlled, is managed by the observable, and then the filtered array is returned to the services, and then it returns to the list.ts file, and then this TS file is ultimately passed to the HTML, and the user sees the result. So this is the complete process that how the services and observable works. But so far you have seen whatever that is just the theory, okay, the conceptual thing is, but not the practical, okay. So let me show you that how we can relate this illustration with our code. So let's start from here. So this is the user, okay. Now in this case I'm the user, okay. So this is the interface, the HTML component. So let me show you in my this app. So this is the HTML file, right, and then this is the output, this one. So if you relate with the illustration with this one, so in my case this list.component.html is actually the login.html. I change its name so that you better relate this. So this one is login.component.html. So what is, so this one is login.component.html, right? So this is the code, and then this is the output, right? So now I am going to interact with this HTML file. Now I'm going to write here Umar, and then maybe something possible, anything else, right? Now I'm going to interact with this login button, and then when I will click on this login button, this one, then it will interact with, so in this case the user will interact with this login.component.html. In my case I'm going to click here, alright. So let me show you so that you understand it better. Certainly not. Okay, so this is my login.html file, right? This one, okay. Now I'm going to, this user is going to interact. So in my case I'm going to interact with this button, okay. So now I'm going to click on this button. I clicked, right? Then what happened when, in this case, when I click on this one, this HTML file, this one, then it interact with the TS file, right? So in my case, let's see here, when I interacted with this button here, when I interacted with this login button here, then what happened? Here I can see there is a function, right, on submit, okay. So this function is interacted here on submit, right? So when I clicked on submit button, then in fact it that HTML file interacted with this TS file, right? And then now this TS file will interact with the services. So this is our API service, is our service name. Okay, so now let's see here. So now this login.ts file is going to interact with the service. Okay, so in my case, where is the service? So let's see here, the service file. So this one is my service file, right? So if I click here, then let's see what's the service name, API service, which we have called here. Sorry, service name, and then here we are calling this API service. Okay, so this is our service file, and then let's find the function. So what is the function name? Our function name is login. Here under this API service there is login function name. So let's find here. It interact with this login button. So here this one inside the service, now it is sending this HTTPI request. This one is sending HTTPI request where? So in this case, this one is our service name. Okay, this is our service file, so this one. And now this service is going to interact with the database API, right? So how? When you click here, in this case through HTTP request, so where is it? You can see this HTTP request. Which one? So this one is through this HTTP request. That means this one is going to make a request to database API. So our API exists in this login.php file. So a request is sent through this HTTP request. The request is sent to where? To this database API, and this data is going to here. Okay, here. Now so the first thing is complete. Okay, the first row, now this one is complete, right? So I displayed you that how that works. Now database API, after processing the request, the database API, here is my login API. Okay, so what happens when I will enter here? I'm not connected here database, actually I'm just simulated here. I'm just hard coded here with username Umar and password 12345. Okay, so it is very simple. You can simply write here, select start from login table, and that's it. So if there is if the result is greater than 0, then so it's if you know PHP, then it's not very difficult. But to save my time, I've just put here my username password. I've just hard coded it. Okay, all right. So if this response is received from there, okay, this response from through HTTP request is received, and then username and password is matched here. So if username and password matches, in that case this message will return. Okay, and in case the username password doesn't match, in that case this message will return. Okay, so in any case the message will return to the service. All right, so where is your service? This one. So after processing this login.php, the database will be returned to. So in this case, what is the return type? If you check here, if you remember, I had told you that actually, so what is observable here? This observable will now this one, the database API is returned. The database API sends a raw format data, okay, an order.data format. Now it is the task of observable to arrange the data in array format, to look after the data which is returned from API, database API. Okay, so in our case here, the data is returned, and then this observable, sorry, where is it? Yeah, so here this observable, so what is returned? The return type, this is the function name. See this carefully, this is function, right? And this is our return type. So what is returned from the API? The return type is observable. And what is this API response? This API response is actually in each item is an array. Got it? So let me get back to you. So here the return type is this observable and API response. So what it's going to return an observable, right, where each item in the observable is API response. So what is this API response? Each item in this observable is API response. That means array. Each item in the observable is going to be an array. So let me show you with how this returns that. Now let's go to this practical example once again. Okay, so when I press here Umar and then 1 2 3 4, okay, 1 2 3 4 5, and then press here. So let's click on network. Okay, where is network? Here is network. This one is network. And then if I press here login, then click on this one, and you can see it is returning an array. And also so this one is in JSON format, and if I press here console.log, then you can see here it is returning an array object, isn't it? So how this comes in arranged array format? Through observable. So it is the task of observable to return this data to the service file. And one more thing now here to understand is that, now let's get back to the example. Here you can see the last point, this last point. It says that observables are not executed until it is subscribed. So what does it mean? Now let's see. Okay, so this one, suppose we have this observable has returned the data after fetching from API. Okay, so database API return this observable, this data. Okay, so until and unless this is subscribed, this will be lying unnecessary here. Okay, to use this we need to subscribe this. So where we have subscribed, so this service, this login has been subscribed here, this login. Okay, all right, where, let's go to here, this login.component, go there. So here you can see that we have subscribed So now because of this subscription we are getting this data here. So where we are getting the data? We are getting data here. Because of this console.log, you are seeing this message. So that means what? After subscribing we are getting this data. So here the question is also that why only login.ts file is getting this data? Because login.ts file has subscribed here. That is why this login.ts file is getting this array format data and not the other. So let's get back to our example illustration. So here in this illustration you can see that only this user is getting one, and this user is also getting this subscription, this magazine, and this one is also getting subscription. Why? So in this case you understand that this magazine house is a service, okay, service, and this one is login.ts, sorry guys, login. Alright, so now here it is subscribing, this login file is subscribing this service, this magazine service. That is why it is returning the array, the magazine. Okay, so where is this? Because since this login.ts file has subscribed, that is why it is returning this magazine. So that is why it is returning this data. So hope you understand through my illustration, because I have tried to relate my illustration with the real time practical example so that you can understand that how this observable process works actually, and how this this TS file and then HTML file, that how this whole process works, and what is the role of observable. So once again, the data is returned as observable, and the task of observable is to filter, to arrange in array format, and return back to subscribe TS file. So in this case, in our example, it is login.ts file, and then through login.ts file the data is displayed to the HTML. So how that? Now suppose you want to display this message, successful login. Alright, so so far this one is inside the TS file, it is not reflecting into our HTML file. Alright, so now, so in this case, so far this one is remaining. Right, you have seen up to here that error is returning in console section. Now if you want to display the message here, so what you will do, it is very simple. Let's go to here, and then simply let's write here this dot message equals to data dot message. We need to create a variable. What does it say? Missing semicolon. No, that's not a problem. Alright, so now there is something wrong here. Terminal not aligned. Yes. Okay, so now this message we want to display into our HTML file. So it's very simple. let's go to here, and wherever you want to display it. For example, if you want to display just after this, say h3, then h3, and then star, there we are. So here just I've written here ng if message, then this message. Okay, so now if I simply log in here with Umar, and then 1 2 3 4 5, which is my password here for reminder. So not this one actually. Okay, so this last section is remaining here. So here, so if my username is Umar and password 1 2 3 4, in that case this array will return there as an observable. Okay, so let's go to here again. So if I click on login, then you can see this login successful. So where is it coming from? This one is coming from the database API, in this case from database API, from here, this successful login. So hope that you understand this whole process, that how the service work in Angular, and also what is the role of this observable in this whole process. So hope you understand this. If you like the video, don't forget to subscribe so that similar useful videos I can present to you, and you can get benefit from those. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.